Welcome to Small Business Saturday.
Welcome to Small Business Saturdays video series with your host and my husband.
And my dad, Aaron Montgomery.
Join the conversation.
Let's talk some business.
All right, welcome in this morning. Happy Saturday, happy Small Business Saturday. This is Kylene. My name's Aaron. You can find us over at oursuccessgroup.com. And how's everything going this morning, Kylene?
It's going good. I woke up early, so.
You woke up early. I woke up late, so
Yes.
I slept in. We did a little family movie night last night and found a couple of good movies. So what did we watch last night? What was I can't remember the first one. Oh, the Beatles one.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
It's called Yesterday.
Yesterday.
It didn't do very well in the box office. It was a pretty cute movie.
I liked it.
Guy got hit by a bus, and then when he woke up, nobody remembered who the Beatles were, and he became a rock star because of it. So that was good.
It was cute. Yeah.
It was definitely very cute. So good morning, and Todd, thanks for checking in. And good morning, everyone. Janessa and Jerry, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Todd, we did not watch Tiger King last night. We did the second movie was
Penguin one.
Oh yeah, Mr. Popper's Penguins, 2011 Jim Carrey movie that I had never heard of before. So apparently it didn't do very well, but
it was cute.
It was cute. It was cute. All right, great. Well, guys, we're gonna dive right in here today. We've fortunate enough to get a wonderful gentleman to join us here today. He's been on this program before. He's been on Two Regular Guys with me before, and actually Kylene guest hosted that one. So Kylene likes to be around when Emil's here. But we want to dive right in. We're talking about the CARES Act. We've got an actual CPA here, not like my dad, who was a former CPA. So Todd, you can drink this morning. And so we are excited to talk to him. He's been all over the top of this and is going to answer as much as he can, because this is an evolving situation. He was actually telling us earlier this week when we talked to him that there are days where this thing's changing 2 or 3 times a day, what's going on. So he is going to give us the knowledge that he has, and we really appreciate that. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Emil, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. So start us off real quick. Just give us I know you've been on here before, but the folks that maybe missed those first couple of times we were together, a real brief rundown of who you are and what your company is.
Sure. Emil Abadian here. I'm a CPA, so I'm a managing partner at the CPA firm, a local CPA firm here in Glendale, California, but also the founder of Anchor Bookkeeping, where we specialize on bookkeeping services for small businesses. That's the nutshell of what we do. Lately, this few weeks, I've been focusing more on the CPA part with all these new changes, tax law changes, to try to help all our clients, both the CPA firm and the bookkeeping firm, to help them move forward, basically, during these uncertain times.
Yeah, definitely. So, Kylene, you want to start us off? Then let's get into some questions here.
Yeah. So can you help us understand the individual stimulus situation, and are these rebates extra money, or how is that all gonna work?
Yeah. So the stimulus package, so stimulus payments that you're referring to is part of the $2.2 trillion stimulus package that President Trump signed end of March, I think March 27th. It's a big package overall. Stimulus payments is part of that package, where technically individual taxpayers making less than $75,000 would get $1,200 paid out to them, whether in form of check or direct deposit. We'll dig into how you can get those funds. But as your income increases, the $1,200 might get phased out. So as a single taxpayer from $75,000, if you make up to $75,000, you get an entire $1,200. But after $75,000 up to $98,000, your $1,200 would be phased out, with $5 for every $100 that your income exceeds the $75,000. So if you make $75,100, you basically get $1,195 rather than $1,200 check.
Okay.
So that's for single taxpayers. Married taxpayers, for 2 people, you get $2,400, and the threshold is the double, $150,000 to up to $299 roughly. So a lot of taxpayers will get this money. There are some limits for head of household taxpayers as well, which is a little bit higher than the individual taxpayers. Threshold starts from $112,000 and goes up with the same 5% limitations on anything exceeding that amount. So a lot of taxpayers will get this. When they will start getting it, I think probably by next week, the IRS will start processing the payments to taxpayers. And if you have your bank account on account with the IRS, if you file the previous year's tax return with your bank account on your tax return, you will get a direct deposit to that specific account. If you don't have the account with them, if you for some reason want to have a check refunded to you, or you never had a refund from the IRS is working on putting up a site on irs.gov. It's not up there last night. They're working on it. It's still under construction, but I think by next week they should put that up, where if the IRS does not have your banking information, you can put it in there so that you can get the refund faster. Because if you don't get it direct deposited, it will take probably 6 to 10 weeks longer to get the check. So you want to make sure you check up irs.gov to see when that's open for you to put in your banking information. It's supposed to be a secure way to put in your banking information. I don't know how that's going to work, but let's keep an eye on it.
Okay.
And one thing that I want to mention about the stimulus package is that we have to remember that this is an advance for 2020 years tax return credit. So it's really a 2020 years tax credit, not 2019 tax credit, where the IRS is advancing taxpayers based on 2018 or 19 years tax return, whichever was filed. So if you haven't filed your 19 tax return yet, the IRS will go based on 18 years number. If you file 19, they will go based on 19 years numbers. I don't exactly know the threshold. If you file the 19, like in the last few days, I don't know if they will have time to process that 19 years tax return. So I'm assuming they will still go based on 18 years return. But if you filed your 19 for a month ago or so, then they will most probably go based on your 19 years numbers.
Okay.
And one more thing here about the stimulus package is, remember, since it's a 2020 tax credit and they go based on 18 or 19 years numbers, you might be able to get a bigger refund or credit in 2020 when you file in 2021. Let's say if your income is above the 75,000 that we just talked about during 18 or 19, so your credit will be either reduced or you won't get any credit at all if you're above the total threshold. But when you file your 2020 years return, your income falls below the threshold, you will get the credit at that time with your tax return.
Okay.
And then if it's the opposite, if your 2018 and 19, again, whichever was filed, was a lower year, which qualified you for the credit, you will get the credit. And then if your 2020 years tax return, I don't know how people are going to make more money in 2020 than 19 with all this craziness happening, but let's say that we'll do that. If your 2020 is above the threshold, you don't need to pay that credit back. That's the benefit. So you want to do some planning. I know I told you different thing during this week, Aaron.
Yeah, sorry. No, that's fine.
So I followed up on that, and IRS clarified that portion. So if you get the credit based on 18 and 19 years taxes, that's yours. You don't have to pay it back when you file your 2020 years tax return. So you want to do some planning now when you're working your 2019 years return to make sure you plan accordingly. So if there's any way for you to get the credit with 2018 and 19 years return, try to get it as soon as possible. You get to keep.
Okay. Yeah, that's when you sent over that email with that clarification, it's like, oh yeah, we need to take a look at this. So
yeah,
that's on the list for today. So
perfect. And this is a non-taxable refund, so you don't have to pay tax on it when you file. Even the money you get right now, you don't have to pay tax on it in your 2020 years tax return. So it's a tax-free, basically, money coming to you.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, Jerry said had no idea it was a credit from our return. Not sure that was really clear in the president's speeches. So appreciate you clearing that up for us.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And as you guys, the listeners there, have questions, certainly pop those in there, and we'll try to get to as many of those as we can. As I mentioned in the opening, Emil, this is changing pretty much nonstop, right? I mean, you're probably giving up sleeping just to try to keep up with this, huh?
Oh yeah, especially some of the programs we'll discuss down the line here. It was changing like every hour. It was total disaster here for a couple of weeks ago, but it's settling in now. It's getting under control slowly, but still things are changing. With the deadlines, for example, when we talked a couple of days ago, the deadline for the second quarter was still June 15.
Yeah.
But just like 2 days ago, right after that call, the IRS came out with guidelines that even the second quarter, which we'll talk about, has been extended to July 15. So basically, let's dig into that. So tax deadlines basically have been postponed from April 15 to July 15, both filing deadline and as well as a payment deadline. So you don't have to file or pay your 2019 year's taxes until July 15.
Gotcha.
And if you still need time to file after July 15, as it is right now, unless something changed, unless they come up with new extensions, you get to file a new extension by July 15 and file by October 15 for your individual tax return. But keep in mind, as it is right now, you only get the extension to October 15 to file your tax return, not to pay your taxes. You still have to pay your taxes if you owe something by July 15 in order to not get penalized for underpayment of taxes.
Yeah.
So that's important to remember. But as it is right now, until July 15, there's no payments that has to go out, no tax returns that has to be filed for individuals.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So I've got a quick question here from listeners, just a clarification here. So if I'm understanding this, if my 2018 return was below 75K, but my 2020 filing is above 77K is what you said, but it's 75K, right?
It's 75,000, exactly. 75,
yeah. Okay. So sorry, let me go back then. So if my 2018 return was below 75,000, but my 2020 filing is above 75,000, I won't have to pay that 12,000 back or get taxed on it.
1,200 back, exactly. Yeah.
Or 1,200.
Yeah. Once you get the credit based on your 18 or 19 years number, it's yours. You don't have to pay it back, even though if your income exceeds the threshold in 2020. And keep in mind that $1,200, the 75,000 I mentioned is the beginning of the threshold. So it phases out from 75,000 to $98,000. So just because you have 80,000 income doesn't mean that you don't get any at all, any of the credit. It just reduces gradually until your income hits 98,000 as a single taxpayer. Once it hits 98,000 as a single taxpayer, you won't get anything at all.
Excellent.
But to answer correct, yes, if once you get the credit, it's yours. You don't have to get to pay it back, and you don't pay tax on it. Correct.
Okay, perfect. Great. Well, that's great clarification. Real quick, yeah, Kathy, this thing must be changing pretty regularly. We'll go check this out after we get done here. But Kathy says, I just looked at the website and the link to update them with your information. Is this the new link he was referring to? Maybe they just put it up.
I looked at this last night. The link that was up and running is if you're non-filer. So if you haven't filed a tax return previously, you can get to put in your information right now. That's open. But if you previously have filed a tax return, as of last night, I haven't looked this morning. I'm sorry, that might have been updated. But if you have filed tax returns, it will come up with another link where on the same page where this lady was. Kathy had that there.
Yeah, the link does say non-filer enter payment info here. So yeah, like I said, this is for people that have not previously filed a tax return. So that probably not what we're looking for yet.
But on the same page, basically the same link on the same page, they will come up with another link where even filers can put in their banking information.
Okay, great.
So keep an eye on that.
And then real quick, another question here, Emil. Thanks for answering all these for us. Are these numbers adjusted gross income?
Correct. Sorry. Thank you for clarifying that. Adjusted gross income. Exactly.
Okay. All right, great. All right, well, let's dive in. Kylie, you got the next question here for us. Let's dive into these small business programs, if that's okay. Go ahead.
Let's real quick about the extensions also. Your first and second quarter extensions for 2020 has been extended as well. So first quarter originally due April 15, second quarter originally due June 15. Both have now been postponed to July 15. So your 2020 extension payments are not due until July 15. But keep in mind, July 15, you have to pay your first, second quarter estimated tax for 2020, including if you owe anything for 19. So it's going to be a lot of money going out by July 15. So be careful with that.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was thinking. Going, that's a big chunk, man. If you're paying estimated taxes, that could be.
It's going to be rough by July 15. I hope they will come up with some extensions. My hope is that they will not require any estimated taxes this year for 2020. That's just wishful thinking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I hope so.
Yeah,
that will help a lot.
Keep that wishful thinking going, and hopefully make that happen.
And then last thing about extensions, your IRA contribution and HSA contributions, if you do that, have been postponed to July 15 as well. So that from April 15. Keep that in mind.
So that's great information. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anything else there, Emil?
Nothing about the deadlines. Quick thing about if you need money to take out from your IRA or 401k, it's very good. The IRS came out with good guidelines here where you could distribute up to $100,000 without paying any penalty. Because originally, if you take early withdrawal before you're 59 and a half, you will pay 10% penalty for early distribution. That's a way, if you do the distribution in 2020, you won't get penalized, and you can pay the taxes over 3 years, anytime during the 3-year period. Or you could decide to put the money back on year 3 and treat it as if it's a rollover. So basically, if treated correctly, if you put the money back within 3 years, you don't need to pay penalty and no taxes on it also.
Wow.
Okay. That's
but
nice.
if you decide to keep it, then you just have to pay the tax over 3 years. Just keep it. That's a good one. But you need to have been affected by the coronavirus, whether you've been diagnosed positive or lost your job or reduced hours. Somehow the situation must have affected your situation to be able to take advantage of that. I don't know anyone who has not been affected by the situation. So I'm assuming that a lot of people will be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah. That's interesting, because you wonder how. I mean, obviously, being tested positive and like losing your job and stuff like that, but as a small business, I guess that, how do you prove that you've been affected?
You file this with the exemption will be filed with your tax return, and obviously they will see your income dropping down. If your income is going up and you try to explain that I've been affected financially by this virus, then obviously then it's not going to fly.
Yeah.
But it has to be substantial drop in income for you to be able to take advantage of it, unless you've been tested positive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's wonderful clarification. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's keep moving forward here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kylie?
Let's dig.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, Kylie. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just want to dig into the PPP programs, unless you have something else going.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question. Can you
Okay.
tell us the difference between the PPP and the EIDL, and then kind of dive in from there?
Definitely. So the PPP program is basically Paycheck Protection Program, which is part of this $2.2 trillion package, where the government has put aside $349 billion for this PPP program, Paycheck Protection Program, which basically means that the government will give business owners loan funding to pay their employees, and these loans could potentially be forgiven if it's used for the right purpose. And a right purpose is basically to keep your employees, pay them, pay their benefits, health insurance, retirement, whatever you were paying before all this happened, pay your rent, utilities, and if you have a business property, pay your mortgage interest on it. So as long as you use the loan towards those expense categories, the government will forgive most of it, if not all of it. And so that's an awesome program for small businesses with less than 500 employees. Basically, pretty big businesses can apply for this also, and as well as independent contractors and sole proprietors, which would be able to apply this based on their net income. Most sole proprietors don't have payroll. It's only them. So you could use your net income, the bottom line, basically after all your expenses, to qualify for this loan amount. And this is a governmental guaranteed loan. So you as an individual would not guarantee this loan personally. It's an awesome program. And anything that does not get forgiven after the once you use the money, let's say if you get the money and use it for some personal use, you buy a car, obviously that's not going to be forgiven, and that's going to turn to a 2-year loan with 1% interest rate, which is still an awesome deal, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing. 1%. You don't find that anywhere.
You don't find that anywhere.
Yeah.
And we need to keep in mind, because it's such a popular program, it's first come, first serve. It's 349 billion. It's a lot of money, but there are a lot of small businesses out there. You want to get out there and talk to your bank right away, because you need to apply this through your bank, and talk to the bank and get the application going ASAP to be able to take advantage of it. And what else is it for this program? And you need to use 75% of the loan at least to pay your employees. So if you have a very luxurious rent or office space where 50% goes to your rent, that's not going to work. You have to spend at least, if you get $10,000, at least $7,500 of that has to be to pay your employees and for their benefits. Keep that in mind.
Okay. Good info. Yep.
All right, our 8-year-old was wanting to join in on the
Sorry.
Yeah, welcome.
I apologize for the distraction there. All right,
Not
so
at all.
anything else with the PPP that we should be aware of? You said, first come, first serve. So what's happening with the banks? Any suggestions there?
You got to talk to your bank, because each bank has its own requirements and guidelines. I know for example, Wells Fargo stopped their application like a couple of hours after they opened it up, because they reached their cap. For some reason, the government put a cap on their funding. But what I heard as late as yesterday, that I think they opened up the applications again. So you have to hurry up. My bank, it's a smaller bank. They were very good for the first week, because this program started April 3rd, last Friday. So they were very good until yesterday, where they stopped taking application temporarily for now, because they're totally overworked. So depending on your bank, you got to look at their online process, whether it's online or in person. I don't know how the banks will be taking the applications, and the documentation the banks have been requesting have been very all over the place. Some banks are just asking for payroll reports. Other banks are actually asking for tax returns, financial statements, and more than just payroll reports. So each bank has its own requirements. So I think that's the best thing, to talk to them directly to see what they need, so you can submit a complete application.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Thanks.
So just another clarifier here. I think you kind of briefly mentioned this earlier, but one of the questions that Todd says, one of the questions I've been asked is, what if you don't pay yourself? How does it work for them?
So it depends what kind of entity it is. So if it's a corporation and you don't pay yourself, unfortunately, the corporations are based on the payroll only. There was a miscommunication, I would have to say, that even independent contractors' expenses could be included in the loan calculation amount, but SBA quickly came out with a clarification that that's not the case. If you, as a corporation, pay another independent contractor, you could not include that portion as part of the loan calculation, unfortunately. And the reason is that the independent contractor can themselves go and apply for his loan based on their net profit. So Todd, if you're an independent contractor, sole proprietor, filing, or a single member LLC filing a Schedule C with your individual tax return, it doesn't matter. You could not pay yourself a salary. So they're going based on your net profit, basically bottom line. But if you're a corporation, unfortunately, they're only going based off the payroll amount.
Okay. So like our situation, we're a LLC S Corp, right?
Yeah, well, we were changing from
We were
the
changing
LLC
to the LLC to the S Corp.
and
So
we haven't heard back from them yet.
okay.
It
All right.
will take some time.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So what are some things that are important to consider as a small business if you're looking at these if you're looking at the PPP program? I know you touched on a lot of things, how we qualify and stuff like that, but are there any kind of gotchas that we might be missing?
As we mentioned, it's a perfect program for the right candidate. It doesn't work for everyone, obviously. Okay. I have a few dentist clients in the CPA firm where they had to let everybody go. There's no work. Obviously, they cannot have the practice open. And for them to get the loan to pay their employees to just sit around and do nothing, kind of doesn't make sense. This is a great program for someone who has to have their doors open anyways, like a I don't know, fast food restaurant who has their doors open, but they lost a lot of business. It's a perfect program because they keep paying their employees and without having to generate such a big loss during the year. So it depends on who it is for, but the main thing is apply as soon as possible. I'm afraid these funds will run out pretty soon. It's a very good, popular program. Everybody's on them. And talk to your bank right away because each bank have its own requirements. Those are the things I will have to recommend at this point.
Okay.
But again, even if it doesn't get forgiven, in my opinion, is a perfect, basically free money for 2 years almost with 1% interest rate. So if you can get it, use it for the right purpose, and try to build the business.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the EIDL program and let us know what you can share with us on that.
I'm a little bit disappointed in that program, honestly,
Okay.
because it was the EIDL was out before the PPP, and everybody was really excited, including my clients, where they applied for it. It says on the website that you get your $10,000 within 3 days, and if you get qualified for anything else, that would be treated as a loan. But even if you don't get qualified for anything above the $10,000, you get to keep the $10,000, and you were supposed to get that within 3 days. I have clients who applied for this online and got it approved online with a confirmation number and everything for close to 2 weeks ago. Nothing has happened yet. It's dead quiet. And the last thing, I was in this SPA site yesterday to check it out, and they changed the $10,000 to up to $10,000, and they removed the 3 days. It says you will get the funds within days of successfully submitted application. So the 3 days is gone, and it's up to 10,000. And I don't know if it's right or true or wrong. I read an article on Forbes about this program, and which says that the up to 10,000 basically means that you will get $1,000 per employee that you have. So if you have 2 employees in the company, you will get $2,000. Don't quote me on this. It's just an article I read on Forbes. It's not directly on SPA's site, so I don't know for sure if it's right or wrong, but I would not be surprised, honestly, if that's the case, because no one has got it yet.
Okay.
And so the $10,000 sounds like it's not straight $10,000. Could be as little as 1,000 for sole proprietors or one employee company. So
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not too excited over this EIDL anymore. And the way it was even before all these changes was that if you get the $10,000, that $10,000 will not be forgiven from your PPP loan. So just let's say, for example, if you got a $20,000 PPP loan and you got a $10,000 from EIDL, that $10,000 would be reduced from your PPP loans forgiveness. So basically, only $10,000 from your PPP would be forgiven.
Gotcha.
So, in my opinion, if you qualify for PPP, which exceeds the EIDL amount, just go with PPP. And it looks like EIDL will be a very small amount now. So if you get anything from PPP, get that first, and then if you get something from EIDL, also that's just a bonus. That's how I would see it.
Okay. What do you think most people are going to miss and not take advantage of with all of this? You think, is there anything as a small business? Is it just go for the PPP if it's right?
You know, at this point, you want to go for whatever is out there.
Okay.
PPP is this won't be same for everyone, obviously, but the ones I have been working with, my type of clients or the clients I've been working with, the PPP has been working very nicely. I have a big law firm here with about 50 to 60 employees. They just got approved for $550,000 PPP loan, which kind of be a huge help for them. Obviously, that's way more than the $10,000 EIDL. So it depends on each situation, but the biggest thing I'm worried about, that this money is going to run out. That's my biggest concern. Whether you get an EIDL or PPP, hopefully you get an amount that will help your business grow and sustain during this uncertain times. But make sure you apply as soon as possible, because these funds will run out unless the government comes out and increases their limits. There are some talks that they're going to come out with another stimulus package soon. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but if the economy and the situation continues the way it's been doing right now, I think they will need to come up with something else, because this PPP loan is supposed to cover for 2 months of payroll technically and rent. And what about after that? If a restaurant has been shut down for all these times, or if your revenue has been reduced with 50% during all these times, it's going to take longer than 2 months to recover. So I think something else has to happen, and it's up to us business owners to be on top of it, read up on it, and as soon as it's out there, go get it, because it's the wild west right now. That's how I will explain the current situation.
So it sounds like as soon as we get done here, everybody needs to run over, and in fact, if people are dropping off right now to go do that, go for it. Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't applied yet, do it. Sole proprietors applications open up yesterday, by the way. Corporations and business entities started on the 3rd, April 3rd, but sole proprietor just started yesterday. So if you're a sole proprietor, you're not late. Nobody's late yet, but go get it right away. Yeah.
Don't wait though. Okay.
Don't wait. Exactly.
Good.
That's my biggest thing that I would have to say at this point. And then down the line, in a couple of months, all these extensions, how to pay your estimated taxes. If you're low in cash flow, should I pay my estimated taxes or just get hit with a small amount of penalty to make sure I maintain ongoing cash flow to cover my business during the year? So those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Talk to your accountant, bookkeeper, to see what I need to do to make sure I'm safe throughout the year, and do not overpay my taxes right now to the IRS, and then won't have money myself to carry my regular life and my business. So you want to be careful with your cash flow. If it was me, I would hold on to as much cash as possible, as long as possible, until all these uncertainties are cleared, basically.
Okay. All right. Good. So, Emil, kind of looking forward from this, what do small businesses need to do to protect themselves, maybe for the next time, something happens, or, what lessons should we be learning right now, I guess?
It's a good question. We never know when this is going to hit next time. And we never know when this is going to end, obviously, either. Yeah. And when times are good, including myself, we would think we're unbeatable. Nothing bad is going to happen to us. It's always going to go up. It's been several years of beautiful years for a lot of businesses, a lot of money. People have made a lot of money. And I think we got to keep in mind, keep us humble and think, it's not always going to continue like this. Like it just did. It just hit us overnight. Everything changed. So I think the biggest lesson we got to learn from this is that just be careful. Even during those great years, keep reserves, be careful with how you spend, how you use your money in your business, in your personal life, doesn't matter. We have to be more careful about the future, I think, because you never know what's going to happen. This came to us as a shock overnight. For me, it was just overnight thing. I just, one day I woke up and realized, oh my God, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Where the day before everything was great, the business was booming. We had many years of great expansion and growth in the business. So I hope to be able to continue it. We just have to work harder, I think, than we used to do, and be smarter of how we do business during this uncertain times, during downtime. So, and take advantage of new opportunities. I think a lot of people have to change the way they do business compared to how we were doing it for a couple of weeks ago or even months ago. So not necessarily for the bad, it's new things gonna come. You gotta be creative and make it happen. That's all it is. We're all in it together. It's not only you or me. Everybody's in the same boat. So we can't complain. We just gotta work harder, get it done. That's what I think.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So working together, being more fiscally responsible, and Yeah, but creating, I love what you said about the creativity there too. You know, I mean, we've got to create ways to work together, you know, find new ways. We're seeing in our industry all sorts of people, you know, doing things that they hadn't done before. You know, a lot of the t-shirt manufacturers have converted to mask manufacturing, and I see all the folks with the laser engravers and laser cutting machines that are in our industry making ear protection. So there's little clips that help hold the mask from, you know, hurting our ears and things like that. So just pivoting, but you know, being responsible about it and being fiscally responsible, I think, is a good thing. So Emil, you had mentioned before we got on the air here that you had a calculator or something that you might be able to
yes, good thing you mentioned.
I don't know if you can see that place to post it. If not, we'll get it posted in the comments afterwards. But to tell us a little bit about that too, if you don't mind.
How can I post that first of all? Let's see.
Hopefully,
I can put it on the private chat.
Okay, yeah, do it there, and I'll get it in there.
Okay, so this is a calculator I came across, the Washington Post. It's actually a great, simple calculator where you can just input your status, your estimated income, and it will spit out your stimulus payment amount. So you will know approximately how much the IRS will send you or deposit into your account.
Okay,
it's a very useful tool for you to play around with and get excited over.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I hadn't seen that before, so that's great. Good. All right. Well, Emil, tell us a little bit about your business. You know, you've been I just want to make sure that all of our listeners know you've been a huge help to us. We're excited about you know, our relationship and being clients, whatnot. But to tell people where they can find out more about you. You know, I know you guys are trying to keep up with all of this stuff. Tell us the latest about Anchor Bookkeeping. I love your sweatshirt there. So
yeah.
Decorated. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Anchor Bookkeeping business is supporting small businesses. We want small businesses to focus on what they do best and just leave anything else that they don't want to do for people who want to do it and who can do it. And it's, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense for a small business owner to do things that they don't know how to do, or they should not do, I would have to say. And just focus on, for example, in my business, there's no way I can do my marketing. My mind is not working in a creative way. I've tried. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried to do some marketing. It just doesn't work. It doesn't click. So I leave that to the marketing team. I do my stuff. I do my accounting. I do my tax work, tax planning, consulting, help businesses get the funding. For example, in this case, I'm not a lender, by the way. I'm not giving money myself, but
clarification.
Just for your information. But that's what I like. That the consulting part, the help that I can give clients, and just leave the things that you're not good at to other people. That's what we want to provide with Anchor Bookkeeping for even the smallest businesses. We've been able to do that through our CPA firm, Abadian and Totlian Accountancy Corporation, for years now. My business partner has been in business for 40 years, Victor Totlian, and myself have been doing it for about 15 years. So we found a way to do it for mid-sized businesses, but with Anchor Bookkeeping, we want to kind of push that to the small sole proprietors also, with an affordable bookkeeping rate to be able to provide that service. Same level of service on a smaller scale to the smaller businesses. That's what Anchor Bookkeeping basically is. And you can just look up as, that's running. The website is running right there.
So there you go.
Anchorbookkeeping.com. It's an online bookkeeping service. It's not a software. So you're not subscribing to a software like QuickBooks Online. We built a platform where we streamline the bookkeeping process with the bookkeeper in the back end. So you always have a bookkeeper you talk to, you work with, who does the work for you. You're not doing any of the work. You're only viewing your statements for your decision-making purpose. And that's what Anchor Bookkeeping is.
Cool. Nice. That's really great. Yeah, I mean, like you said, with the accounting, I've tried to do it for years, and yes, I can do it. I don't have a passion for it, and so like you said, you got to look at what your time's worth. And to me, it was like, and Kylene had to kick me in the butt and go, "Hey, what's your time worth to you?" And I said, "Yeah, you're right. I've always been the type that wants to do it myself, but just doesn't make any sense. We've got too many other things that we need to be working on right now. So it's certainly a service worth checking out for folks over there, because I see that all the time in the groups that we're talking about. People like, oh, what do you do for accounting? And you get a lot of the QuickBooks and things like that. And I get it. I've been there, but it just seems like we're in business to decorate shirts, or things like that. But you're in business to be a bookkeeper and accountant.
Yeah.
So let's work together. So
and I think during these downtimes where it's actually more important for us to be, as I mentioned, more creative, but also be more specialized in what we do, to be more targeted and more focused on what we do. Some people might think, okay, during this economy, and to cut all expenses that are out there. Yes, you need to cut your expenses. I totally agree. You need to buy a cheaper car, for example. But when it comes to your business, I think we need to invest. It's time to invest in your business, whether it's with time or money, if you have the option to do with money. But if not, with your time. You have to invest in your business to grow it and put much more energy now than you did in the past to make it happen, to take it to the next level.
yeah,
So I think it's important during even down times to look into what you should do and what you shouldn't do in your business.
yeah. No, that's
That's
a great tip.
Yeah.
That agree wholeheartedly, and invest in your business. And like you said, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, we don't all have a lot of extra money right now. So what do we have though? People are not working. So you're not at your day job. Things like that. This is time. I'm seeing a lot of that in our group of folks here, that they're really getting invested in their business, and it's great to see. So to take advantage of that. So, all right, let's real quick answer a question here. Todd asked, does accounting software matter if you're using Anchor Booking, or do we need a specific one for Anchor? What's your? You don't really need anything, right?
You don't need anything. We take care of all of that for you. So we use our own software and provide you with your financial statement, basically. So you don't need to get any software. You don't need to get QuickBooks. If you're doing your own billing in-house, your FreshBooks could be perfect just for billing purpose, but that's only for billing purpose, not for accounting and financial statement purpose. So that comes fully from our side. And you're not doing any of the accounting. You got to keep in mind that when you do QuickBooks Online, you have to do work. But with Anchor, we do the work. That's why obviously Anchor is a little bit more expensive than QuickBooks Online, but you get a bookkeeper with the service. It's not the software only.
Yeah, and Todd, what we have done, because this is your business bookkeeping, and for a lot of us small businesses, I made the mistake for years of it was all kind of together, our personal and business all in one thing there. So we've switched over to Mint for our personal finances, which is free. So it works fine. And then we have the business stuff that we get in from Anchor. So Kristen says, my dad uses QuickBooks for his business, but partners with an accountant also to do all the filing. So your partnership with the accountant is definitely very important. I certainly think that if you're doing all that accounting work, you probably should have probably had a bookkeeper up front too, though. So, excuse me. Sorry. Okay. Any other questions from you guys out there before we let Emil go? Emil, was there anything that we missed here while we were chatting here today over the?
There's obviously we can talk about this for days.
Yeah.
There are some other things out there, for example, for employers with less than 500 employees. If your employees get sick with the coronavirus, if they're quarantined, if they have to stay home to take care of a kid that is home from school, or another dependent that's sick with the coronavirus, keep in mind that there are some requirements for employers to pay their employees sick leave and paid family leave. It's up to, I think, 10 or 12 weeks. So it's a pretty long period that you as an employer, a small business owner, basically have to cover your employees' payroll, part of their payroll during 10 or 12 weeks. When you do that, you have the right to apply for a credit from the IRS, payroll tax credit, up to $5,000 per employee. But don't forget, you cannot get that credit if you're getting loan from a PPP program. So you want to be careful. And most of the time, the PPP program would work better. I did this calculation for all of my clients, and not a single one made more sense to do the payroll tax credit from the IRS. But if you cannot get the PPP loan, then you might want to consider the payroll tax credit you can get from IRS up to $5,000 per employee if you have to pay them sick leave or paid family leave because of the situation. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's more in detail. This was just very briefly, but just for you to know that there's something like that out there, and you can look into that.
Okay. Cool. Wonderful. All right. Well, I think let's get everybody off to applying for the PPP program. And thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And
my pleasure, guys.
Personally, we thank you for everything you've done for us and helped us. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks very much to Emil for his time and all of that great information. In fact, Frederick had to thank you for the information. So definitely really good stuff there. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Get over and get in touch with your bank. And if your bank, you might this might be a time to see one of the local smaller banks around you, see if they're taking new customers. Because I have heard the same thing, that some of the bigger banks are having a hard time with this and getting shut off. So again, just what I've heard. So wonderful stuff. A couple of things to share that we've got going on here at our success group. Kylene, what's happening at weheart.biz? Anything new and exciting? Wow, I got a tickle in my throat.
Some water.
I've got my tea here, so go ahead.
Well, we have our graduation promotion still going, which is really exciting. So we are offering a free virtual, to host a free virtual celebration for our graduates who are extra special memory right now. If they can't have their full normal graduation ceremony, families are still able to honor their graduate. So we have that going on, and really cool. We're going to add another product here for their graduation collection. So we have that going on.
Yeah. Kylene's, kind of getting after it with this stuff here in Missouri. They just announced that the school has been, the kids will not be going back to school this year. So there was a lot of, I don't know what the exact right word is, a lot of doom and gloom, it felt like, from folks around here about graduation and stuff like that. And get it, certainly get it. But this is a trying time. So we definitely want to honor those graduates. But, just because they might not get the exact same ceremony doesn't mean that we can't celebrate. So, Kylene's got that going on over at weheart.biz. If you guys have, so Kylene's able to do large blankets and sublimation and lots of cool stuff there. So if you guys want to do anything with Kylene, partner with her, do anything together, she is all ears, correct?
Yep. Please let me know. Reach out.
Not in a bad way. Her ears are fine. So, but she's wonderful to work with. I'm obviously biased, but if you guys have anything that you'd like to work with Kylene on, it's just hello@weheart.biz. Yep. And
I would love it. It'd be great.
Yeah. They are doing distance learning in place of being in the building. So it's all Google Classroom here for us. We've got an 8-year-old and he's doing all Google Classroom stuff. And it looks like our school district is hooked into Google Classroom and doing virtual learning. So there's still that going on. It's not that they've just canceled the school year. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to imply that. So yes, they are still going to be learning. In fact, I'm actually excited to watch our son grow with some of this stuff. He's having to work like a lot of people are having to work right now. So, they're going to be more prepared for something like this, and they're going to be more prepared for our future society, where there will be a lot more distance working or working from home kind of thing. And a lot of that stuff. So, there are benefits to this. You have to find that silver lining, and that's what we're really trying to do is work on finding that silver lining. So again, like common core math is not going to be a thing anymore. Totally agree with that. That was our joke. I said that we actually graduated our son already because we cut out the common core math. And so that took 2.5 months off of his school year. So yeah, common. I've seen some funny posts. Somebody posted like a kid doing a Common Core math problem and taking up like 3/4 of the page, and then at the bottom the homeschool teacher method that was like 2 lines, and same result. So anyhow, Common Core math is definitely going to take a bit of a pounding here on this one. All right, so that's what you've got going on over at WeHeart over there. So again, if you guys want to reach out to Kylene, it's hello@weheart.biz. And if you want to just reach out directly to me, I'm happy to get you guys all connected with this nice lady here. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Speaking of our success group, April 15th, we have our next training class coming up for our members, and that's called Shipping Made Easy, or as Todd likes to call it, Ship Happens. And so we've kind of pivoted. This was supposed to be the vendor fair training, but because of all this going on, there's no vendor fairs happening right now. And what we are getting a lot of questions about is what's, I've got to now start shipping my products. I can't have that face to face. So how do we get a handle on that? So if you go right up here to oursuccessgroup.com, you can check that out. If you want to go directly there, it's oursuccessgroup.com/training. If you want to see more specific details on that. So that's happening next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. So hoping to have you guys jump in if you want to become members. We're always looking for new members of Our Success Group. So, and then the next thing after that is we're going to start into our next 5 Keys series, and that's happening over at oursuccessgroup.com/5keys. And you can get more information about that. And we'll be talking about planning for success. We're going to talk about the business plan process. We're going to give templates. We're going to work through the specifics of getting this stuff down on paper so that we're ready. We have our guardrails. We have our track to, because right now we're on that roller coaster ride where we're at the top of the loop and we're upside down. Mm-hmm. And, those of us that have a business plan that know where the end of that loop is at are more easily able to navigate. We're not falling out. Mm-hmm. We're up here. We're there, and we're going to keep going forward, and maybe we'll turn around like this or whatever. Ooh. But we're going to start talking about that in our Success Group 5 Keys. And then tomorrow we've got Q&A with TNA, and that is going to be over at liveosg.com. We got a new website there to overcome our YouTube problem. But we need more subscribers. So go to liveosg.com, and I'm typing that in as I speak, so that's always fun. Liveosg.com. Go check that out, and it should be up there. There we go. And you can subscribe there.
You have it.
Huh?
OSG at the end.
Oh, sorry, wrong one. Live. So where's that at, Kylene?
liveosg.com.
Let's try that one instead. Holy cow. All right. That's better. Where's the .com one? There we go. Okay. Thank you, Todd. Liveosg.com. Appreciate that. So go check that out. That tomorrow at 4:00 Central Time, we will be hosting. I think this is going to be the 15th episode of Q&A with TNA. And wow. So we need more questions. So keep those questions coming. I tend to burn through all the questions each session. So I appreciate you guys keeping those questions coming. You can do that over at oursuccessgroup.com/QA. Just put those questions in. Yeah, because we typically try not to take live comments. We want to just kind of keep this going. So bring your questions in through oursuccessgroup.com/QA. And I think that's about it. Anything else that we missed there, Kylene?
No, I think you got it all.
All right. So thanks very much to Emil. Make sure that you go check out Anchor Bookkeeping. I'll scroll that at the bottom here. I really appreciate his time today, getting up on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. his time over there and sharing all of that wonderful information. Much appreciated.
Yep.
All right.
That's awesome.
Good job by you.
Okay.
High five. Sorry I didn't let you talk much this time.
Oh, we're all good.
All right. All right, guys. Have a great day, and look forward to Yeah, thank you. We're getting there. Thank you, Jerry. All right, you guys. Thanks again. Appreciate all your time today, and we will see you guys next Saturday. Still working on what that's going to be, but we'll have some great stuff for you next Saturday here at Small Business Saturdays.
Bye.
Bye.